With UFC 257 now in the books, fight fans have had more than enough in the way of drama to sink their teeth into, with the year's MMA action now well and truly underway. In the night's main event, Dustin Poirier of course managed to score the biggest victory of his career to date, as he masterfully disposed of Conor McGregor for a performance that served as a culmination of a career's worth of work and dedication to the craft. If you haven't yet checked out our pair of videos on the futures of both Poirier and McGregor, be sure to do so once you're finished with this video. As you would imagine, there was quite a lot to unpack. However, for this piece, we're going to focus in on the co-main event and the man who announced his arrival to the UFC in the most dramatic of fashions, Michael Chandler. Though probably a relatively new name to a lot of fans, those of you who have stuck around this sport for longer will know all about this man and his status as one of the greatest lightweights of all time. Seen by many as one of the biggest what-ifs in MMA history, this former two-time Bellator champion loyally fought under that promotional banner for the vast majority of his career, besting the finest 155-pound fighters Scott Coker and his team could get their hands on. And just like Ben Askren, a man who was also once seen as one of the single greatest fighters to never touch down in the UFC octagon, Chandler's opportunity at the big time did not come during what you would call his quote-unquote prime years. But after the events of UFC 257, it really does seem as though this 34-year-old still has quite a lot in the tank. I appreciated the move to put him in there with his stiff test like Dan Hooker straight off the bat. Like a lot of fans, I had always wanted to see how this already established presence within the MMA world would deal with a move to the greatest lightweight division in the business. And while the tougher tests are no doubt yet to come, the manner in which Chandler announced his arrival to the UFC was completely and utterly brilliant. Say what you want about the pro wrestling tinged divisional call-out that followed in the post-fight interview. If he was hoping for the perfect way to introduce the world to that deadly first-round power, the way he stalked and eventually starched Hooker was nothing short of masterful. Indeed, Hooker looked a bit tame. I don't want to make any assumptions, but after 10 rounds spent in the fire in 2020 back-to-back with Dustin Poirier and Paul Felder in a pair of Fight of the Night winning efforts, it wouldn't be out of the question to wonder at how Hooker was holding up during this camp. But even still, speculation aside, let's not take away from the sheer viciousness of that performance. Chandler has arrived on the UFC lightweight scene, and despite it taking him so damn long to get here, in defeating Dan Hooker he has now made his mark on the top 5. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, be sure to leave a like and a comment below to keep this train moving. We're looking forward to bringing you even more excellent content this year, so make sure you subscribe to stay up to date with all of our latest uploads. Okay, back to the video. So how far can Michael Chandler go? Well, I think it's a bit too early to say, but thankfully we're in the fight business, and based on his relatively short fight time and his eagerness to compete, I'm guessing that we won't have to wait too long to find out. So with an eye on the future, who exactly should Michael Chandler face off against next? Well, as the 4th ranked contender in the division, coming off a first round knockout victory in one of the most watched MMA events of all time, I think that ideally Chandler will have earned the opportunity to take another step up in competition. The options within that number are fairly straightforward, with Dustin Poirier and Charles Oliveira in the win column, and Justin Gaethje, Tony Ferguson and Conor McGregor coming off losses. I'd be quite surprised if anyone other than the 2 winning fighters fought for the undisputed title next. I know Poirier isn't too fond of the idea of Chandler getting a shot at the belt with just one victory in the promotion, and Oliveira's victory over Tony Ferguson in my eyes was more than enough to warrant a crack at gold. I think Conor McGregor should probably fight Nate Diaz next, and though he is just the type of guy who could pull off a quick return, I'd like to see Tony Ferguson take at least some time away from competition to regroup. So that leaves Justin Gaethje. For me, Gaethje versus Chandler would be the perfect way to single out one fighter for a crack at the winner of Poirier versus Oliveira. Gaethje might have been exposed to some extent by the grappling wizardry of Khabib Nurmagomedov, but all in all, I don't think that loss was a critical one for his hopes of capturing UFC gold. If Khabib is truly gone for now, Justin thankfully won't need to worry about an assault like the Eagles again. Chandler, though he didn't get a chance to show it last time around, is also an excellent wrestler, though definitely to a different degree than Nurmagomedov. But in that matchup, it was the submission skills of the champion as well as his overall aggression and control that turned the fight dramatically in his favor. I think now, perhaps more than ever, Gaethje should feel confident about his chances of capturing the belt. Though nullified entirely by Khabib, Justin didn't take any damage in that matchup, and based on his performances en route to that title shot, we should be expecting the same man in there next time he makes the walk. So set him up for a potential rebound against Chandler, and let's see who can help the next champion of the division usher in its new era. Can Chandler take home the title before all is said and done? Well, I do think we will learn even more in his next outing. The man has ridiculous punching power in the fight's early stages and a veteran savvy built from years of fighting for championship belts. His overall grasp of the MMA skill set is indeed excellent, and while I think either Poirier or Oliveira could stand as his toughest matchup in the division, he is certainly in the thick of the action now, and as a supporter of his over the years, I'm pretty delighted to see it. He seems loose, he seems confident, and ready to prove that his years fighting in Bellator have been enough to see him follow his former promotional rival Eddie Alvarez to a similar level of success in the UFC. Only time will tell, I suppose. How do you see Michael Chandler's long-awaited UFC run going down? And who would you peg as the next fighter to join him inside the octagon later this year? Be sure to let us know in the comments section below. We always love to hear from you guys. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like before subscribing to the channel in order to stay up to date with all of our latest uploads. And as always, thank you for watching.